Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to a very special episode of Easy Buckets. How are you guys doing today? Hope you're having a fantastic day so far. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the Lakers training camp roster and going into deep analysis of everything we know so far and everything we want to know. NBA training camp is starting on September 28th. That is coming up very soon. And with the NBA season coming up very soon, training camp is going to come quick. And of course, the NBA season is going to come faster than we know it. So if you're a big Lakers fan and still got a lot of questions when it comes to this training camp, this video is simply perfect for you. I'm going to be talking all about the things we're still wondering. Before I get into the video, I just want to say, guys, I'm giving away a bunch of copies of NBA 2K22. So if you guys want to be a part of this contest, all you got to do is do the things right here on the screen. All you have to do is be a subscriber of this channel. And then, of course, there are also some bonus entry options. So make sure you guys check that out. I want you guys to be a part of this. But without wasting any more time, let's talk about the Lakers 2021 training camp. With NBA training camp starting very soon, the Lakers are about to figure out their full-time roster. Going into the regular NBA season, the Lakers are allowed 15 players, but when talking about training camp, they're actually allowed to have 20 players, which means ultimately working out with these 20 players and of course, completing the roster. The superstars of LeBron James, Russell Westbrook, Anthony Davis, and the newly auditioned Lakers have been very active when it comes to practice. We have seen footage of multiple players practicing in the Lakers facility, and with NBA training camp starting on September 28th, I do believe the main Lakers are locked in. We know all about the big moves the Lakers made. They traded for Russell Westbrook, they got DeAndre Jordan, and they also brought back Rajon Rondo. But for this video, I'm not going to be focusing mainly on these type of players that we already know. I'm going to be talking about the Lakers' complete roster with the players we're not really sure of. As I mentioned earlier, going into training camp, you are allowed a maximum of 20 players in your training camp. And as we speak, the Lakers currently have 18. I'm going to be giving you guys a full list of the 18 players on the Lakers' current training camp roster, and then of course asking you guys some main questions that we are all still wondering heading into training camp. Out of the 18 players on the Lakers roster, 13 of these 18 players are under guaranteed contracts, which means no matter what happens in training camp, they are locked in for the final 15 of the Lakers 2021 roster. With that being said, 5 of these players are under special NBA contracts, and before listing you the players, I want to explain what these contracts mean. The first contract is called a two-way contract, and to quickly explain it, is basically a player who will spend most of his time with the G League and the permanent team. The Lakers can keep sending him to the G League and keep calling this player up from the G League. It's basically a half guaranteed spot on the official roster, and of course, better than the next contract I'm going to explain. The next contract is called an Exhibit 10 contract. It's fairly a newer contract than the two-way, and with the two-way contract having a limit of 2 players, Exhibit 10 contracts you can have multiple players. This is a brief definition. An Exhibit 10 contract means that if a player on such a deal is cut in training camp, they can receive a bonus of anywhere from $5,000 to $50,000 if they sign with the South Bay Lakers and stay there at least 60 days after clearing waivers. A player on an Exhibit 10 can also be converted to a two-way player if the team has one of its pairs of two-way spots open prior to the regular season. A team can't have any more than 6 Exhibit 10 contracts at once, and as we speak, the Lakers currently have 3. This is the Lakers' current 2021 training camp official roster. We got LeBron James, their captain, the GOAT, the superstar on this team. LeBron is a no-brainer. Despite LeBron now being 36 years old, I still believe he's going to be an MVP caliber player and is going to lead this team to victory. Next up, we got Anthony Davis, the Lakers' prize big man. This year, I want to see more Anthony Davis, especially in the paint. Be more aggressive on those floor spacing abilities and opportunities. And of course, AD, I want you to be healthy because last year, the Lakers didn't have you and got eliminated in the first round of the playoffs. playoffs. Next up, we got Russell Westbrook, the Lakers' newly addition of a superstar point guard. They replaced Dennis Schroeder with Russell Westbrook. In my opinion, this was a big time move for the Lakers. Russell Westbrook comes in as kind of a Dwayne Wade factor to LeBron James. Of course, I'm comparing Russell Westbrook, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis to Dwayne Wade, LeBron James, and Chris Bosh. So Russell Westbrook comes in to be another ball handler, another playmaker, another scorer. I love this trade. Next up, we got Dwight Howard, former Laker and a former NBA champion with the Lakers. Dwight Howard was a part of the Lakers championship team 2 years ago, and I'm super happy to see him back on a veterans minimum deal. Right now, the Lakers are looking towards a more defensive lineup at the front court, and with Dwight Howard being one of the better defensive players in NBA history, I do believe him at the veterans minimum. It's simply a bang for your buck. Next up, we got Trevor Ariza, former Laker as well, and of course, one of the more respected players in the NBA. Trevor Ariza has bounced around from multiple teams simply because he's simply a great role player, a great leader, and more importantly, his playing style is a 3-and-D player. And with the Lakers needing floor spacers after having LeBron James and Russell Westbrook flourish on those driving kicks, Trevor Ariza is going to be a big part of their leadership, NBA experience plays, and more importantly, that defense and three-point shooting. Next up, we got Wayne Ellington. I would say the Lakers probably sharpshooters three-point shooter when it comes to pure three-point shooting. The Lakers signed Wayne this year after losing Kentavious Caldwell-Pope and Alex Caruso, so Wayne's going to be a big factor when it comes to the floor spacing and straight-up sharp shooting. Wayne, knock down your threes this year. Next up, we got Malik Monk, one of the younger guards on the Lakers roster right now. After losing Kyle Kuzma, the Lakers kind of need that young guard off the bench to be a spark plug. And with Malik Monk not having opportunities in Charlotte, especially with LaMelo Ball, Terry Rozier, and Devontae Graham taking most of his shine, I do believe playing in the bright lights of LA could execute and elevate Malik Monk's career. Next up, we got Kent Bazemore, NBA veteran when it comes to a 3-and-D presence, a high-energy player. Kent Bazemore spent his NBA career with the Portland Trail Blazers and the Warriors over the past few seasons and is simply a great contributor to a championship run. And with the Lakers having a lot of good quality depth, Kent Bazemore is just a cherry on top factor. Next up, we got Carmelo Anthony, one of my favorite signings options for the Lakers as well. Carmelo Anthony spent the last few seasons with the Portland Trail Blazers and was a big part of their bench lineup. He was their sixth man and off the bench averaged about 13 points per game. Now on the Lakers, I want to see the exact same atmosphere, the exact same attitude. Come off the bench, Melo, and be a scoring spark plug. Next up, we got THT, Talen Horton-Tucker, the Lakers' prize young guard this year in the offseason. The Lakers re-signed him to a 3-year, $30 million deal, and they believe THT is going to be a part of their future. And in my opinion, I do believe so too. I believe this year, he's going to be more of the six-man point guard off the bench, kind of replacing the Alex Caruso role last year, but I do believe he will be more on the scoring factor. Next up, we got Kendrick Nunn, one of the younger players on this roster as well. He came from the Miami Heat, and I know a lot of you Laker fans love Kendrick Nunn. He's a very under-the-radar target, especially when it comes to hype, and I do believe this year, especially in preseason, training camp, and of course, in those situations where the Lakers need a young, high-energy point guard off the bench, Nunn is your guy. Then we got Rajon Rondo. I don't have to talk much about Rajon Rondo. We all know what he brings to the table. NBA vet, one of the best passers and high basketball IQ players in the NBA, was a part of the Lakers championship run 2 years ago when they won in the NBA bubble. So seeing Rondo come back to a veterans minimum, super duper cheap deal, I love to see that happen. Rondo come in, be a leader, and from what we're hearing, he's gonna replace that Jared Dudley type of role, because the Lakers lost Jared Dudley this year. Next up, we got DeAndre Jordan, the Lakers' newly addition guaranteed player, especially at the front court position. The Lakers traded away Marc Gasol, and with that, they replaced him with DeAndre Jordan. With the Lakers' biggest competitors being the Brooklyn Nets, DeAndre Jordan came from the Brooklyn Nets and can simply help the Lakers when it comes to beating the Nets. He knows their playbook, he knows their sets, and of course I do believe he will be a great backup to Anthony Davis and Dwight Howard, especially in the locker room. Now we're going to move forward to Austin Reaves, one of the two-way contract players the Lakers currently hold. Austin Reaves is very similar to a Doug McDermott, Kyle Korver type of role, so if you guys want an idea of what he brings to the table, it is simply that. Next up, we got Joel Ayayi, another two-way contract player as well. Joel Ayayi is a guard who put up some amazing numbers in college, and with the Lakers now developing younger guards to kind of replace, Rondo when it comes to playing time, potentially work alongside Kendrick Nunn, Ayayi is a development process for the Lakers. Lakers. Next up, we got Chaundee Brown. He's getting a lot of comparisons to Meta World Peace because of his size, his body, and his weight. He's very strong and is simply great on those 3 and D personality plays. Chaundee Brown on the Exhibit 10 contract. That is something the Lakers do want to focus on as well. And I do believe he's more of a fan favorite. Next up, we got Mac McClung, guys. Mac McClung is a college star favorite. We all know in the NBA Summer League this year, there were so many plays where Mac McClung just went crazy. Fans loved his energy, loved his drive to the basket, and I do believe the Lakers do like that, what he brings to the table when it comes to his offense. But of course, his defense does need a lot of work. So I want to see how he does in training camp, and maybe that can develop with the Lakers being a defensive team. Then we got Cam Oliver, the Lakers' newly auditioned Exhibit 10 contract player. He is the only forward when it comes to this Exhibit 10 contract player. And with that being said, the Lakers want to build him to be more of a defensive factor, similar to an OG Anunoby, the new rookie Scotty Barnes type of vibe. Cam Oliver is a development project for the Lakers. And with him being 6'8" and having a strong build, I do believe he does have a place in the NBA. So yes, this wraps up the 18 players on the Lakers' current training camp roster. Now, there are a couple questions I do want to ask you guys before ending off this video. The first question is fairly simple. Who are the Lakers going to sign with their final 2 roster spots? I'm making this video on September 18th, which means there are 10 more days. 10 more days for the Lakers to find their final 2 training camp roster spots. Who do you guys believe they are going to target with these 2 final spots? Then my next question is talking about the Lakers starting lineup. As of right now, we still do not know what the lineup's going to be. Is AD going to be center? Is Russell Westbrook going to start alongside Wayne Ellington, Cam Bazemore? Who is going to be the Lakers power forward? Will it be LeBron or will it be Carmelo Anthony? There are so many questions right now about the Lakers starting lineup. So guys, put your thoughts down in the comment section down below. Who do you believe is the perfect lineup for the Lakers? And also, you could even mention the preseason starting lineup. But yes, guys, this wraps up my video for today, talking about the Lakers' official current training camp roster. What's most important to me is I want to know your thoughts, guys. Answer those questions I just mentioned. Let me know what you are thinking. This is my favorite part about being a YouTuber and making videos for you guys, is when I can talk to all of y'all. So put your thoughts down in the comment section down below. But other than that, take it easy, God bless. And I'll see you all next time on Easy Buckets. Woo!